Good morning, everyone. So, in the last session, we discussed about the email validation and some other concepts we identified here. So, today we'll try to identify another important section here. So, first we'll discuss about the how we can upload the important section about the file upload here. Okay. So, this is another important section we are going to discuss here. So, for this particular file upload, what are the changes we need to made here? So, we'll try to identify the changes information here. So now if I'm going to open this particular our home controller. So where is our home controller? So this is our home controller we are having. So inside this particular home controller now, so what are the changes I need to made here? Getting the point. So what are the changes we need to made here? So if we observe carefully, so these are all the main changes we need to use here. So to understand this particular, okay, so these are all the main changes we need to provide here. So what first, what I'm trying to provide here, I will provide the diagram information. So this is the user information. Okay. So whatever we are having here, so first something like first name, last name, and we identified email as well as here we are going to provide the upload information. Okay, here we are going to provide the upload information. So whenever we are trying to click on this particular upload, we are going to select the any photo here, and the photo should be saved into our database. And finally, what we will do, we'll try to load the data here. Getting it? So the same image we'll try to load and we'll try to display in the UI pages here. So this is we are going to provide the main example here. Now observe carefully. Now first what we are going to provide here. So to work on this particular any file related example, we need the commons multipart the one of the class is there, so we need to use the class information. Otherwise we can go for the interface, the multipart file here. Okay, so those particular section it will try to read the data from the UI as a file related section. So the information it is going to come as an encrypted format. So once information is coming as an encrypted format, now what we will do, we'll try to load like save into the database here. Okay, so for this, now what are the changes we need to add here? Now let's observe carefully the main example what we need here. So where is so where we are trying to make this section? So inside this particular home.jsp, no, inside this particular register. So if we observe carefully, now first what is the change we need to add? Here now you can see we need to add this particular encrypt format. So this is the main section we need to add here. Getting the point. So this is the main section we need to add. This particular the encrypt, what it will do, it will try to convert the whatever the data we are trying to providing here. Okay, so once we provide this particular section, what happening internally, so it will try to convert the data and it will try to make as a our encrypt data, the encrypted information we are trying to save into the database here. Okay, so another important section, so this is the label I'm adding image, and now you can see profile image, and after that this is the one of the input tag I'm adding. So input name is upload and the type is file here. Okay, so this is the another change we are going to add here. Getting the point. So these are all the two changes we are going to add. So this is important information we need to add here. Okay, getting the point. So this is the main important information we need to add here. So now observe carefully the two changes we are making here. First one is basically here we are trying to make the encrypt information, and another one is we are trying to providing the TR information. So using this particular input we are going to upload the section here. Okay, so we are going to upload this particular section. So once we provide now what happens internally, it will try to convert the data. Getting the point. So if I'm going to run our application, now what happens internally, we are able to see the button called upload section. So the upload button, it will try to load the images related section. Okay, so here whenever I'm trying to click on the login, now you can see Here we are having, so browse here, something like a profile image. Something like a profile image. Okay, so this is the main change we need to add here. So once we click on this, now what happens internally, it will try to load the image and we are going to save into the database here. Okay, so to save this particular data into the database, another change is what we made here. Let me go to this. So register class here, get in the bin. So the register class here, what are all the other changes I'm making here? What are all the other changes we are making? So if I'm going to, so if you observe carefully, the changes, first I will explain one more time here, whatever I did. Okay, so this is the main information. So earlier, whatever the class we created up to this particular class here. Okay, this is important here. Now, so if I'm going to write here, so Praveen, so as I explained here, now what I'm doing here, whatever the file we are going to use it, the particular file basically we are trying to converting into the multi-part file. So if I'm going to open this multi-part file here, so this is one of the interface here. Okay, so I don't have a source code on this. Okay, so anyway, basically this particular like abstract class, abstract interface. Now you can see basically here we are having the abstract interface called multi-part file here. It is having, these are all the abstract methods here. These are all the abstract method here, but this particular source is not available. We'll try to load after adding this particular jar dependencies here. But anyway, now what I will do, I'm going to add the same multi-part file because we are trying to use the upload section here. This is important. Whenever we are trying to upload here, we need to use this particular concept here. And here, this is important here. So whatever the name we are using in our the upload button, so the name here we need to use the same name we need to use it. So otherwise it will not work here. For example, now what happens internally, if I'm going to use as a file here. Okay, if I'm going to use as a file. So another one, what I'm trying to use it, I'm going to use byte array. Getting the point? So I'm going to use as a byte array. So why I'm using this particular byte array? Basically, this particular byte array, whatever the file we are getting, now we are going to converting into the byte format, and the byte format information we are going to save into the database here. Okay, so we are going to save into the database here. So this is main important sections we need to use here. So now observe carefully. Here I'm going to generate this particular setters and getters for this particular two values here. Okay, so these are all the main two information we are adding here. So after adding, now what we can do, so we need to go to the controller class. So before going to discuss about the controller class, we need to provide the file section. Okay, so we need to provide the file section. So before going to provide the file section, where is the database section? Okay. Here I will add so create, I'm going to create the new tables for. So whatever the existing table we used it, so all the data I'm going to delete, because basically what we need here, because we are adding the new column. Whenever we are adding the new column, so we need to insert from the basic canvas here. Okay, if I'm going to add a new column on the existing records, we cannot have the information here. So because of that, I'm trying to provide create. It will try to create the new table structure here. So every time, how many times the server is going to start, so every time it will try to create the new table structure. Okay, so once it is created, we'll modify it into the update here. But anyway, so now back to here. What is the main configuration here? So we provided the register class here. So once we provide this particular register class, now we'll come back to here and we are going to use here as a multi-part file, and here I'm going to use a file here. Okay, so this is important, we need to understand here. So as of now, I'm going to comment out this. So here, the line number 57, I'm making comment here. We'll see whether this particular file is going to load or not. Whether this particular file, it is going to load or not. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm trying to run this particular example as a runner server here. Now you can see table is altered here. Now once the table is altered, now what we are doing here, we are trying to click on the registered. So we have a information here. We have this particular information. Now what is the information we can write here? So spring underscore file here. The email, what is the email we can provide here? So whatever we used in the earlier example. Okay, so this is the email we are trying to use here. Spring underscore file. So the password I'm giving as a file. Okay, and after this we are trying to click on this image. So any image. So right now, so one of the some logo I'm having. So the logo I'm trying to select here. So once I selected, if I'm trying to click on the submit here, now what happening internally? So we are expecting another pages. So the page is not available here. But if you see, so if you observe carefully, here we are trying to insert into the register, and these are all the values, and this is the login information. Okay, now what we need to understand here. So which database we are discussing? Something like Spring JDBC here. Select star from register. Now you can see image is null. Now you can see image is null. What happens internally? So the object is created here, but finally whatever the image we are having, the image is getting the image is not created here. So this is important. So what we are missing basically, this is another important example we need to understand here. So I stopped the server. So we'll start from the basic here. Here, what we are doing is we are trying to use this particular file here. So this particular file, now what I will do, I'm going to check the condition, and if the file dot is empty. If the file is not empty, now what I will do, here I'm going to add into this particular register dot set image. Okay, set image, and here what we can do, file dot get bytes here. So this particular get byte, now it is trying to getting an error here. Now we need to understand what is error indicating. He is expecting to handle exception. So we'll try with a catch block, try and catch block here. So this is the IO exception it is going to throw. So now we are handling this exception. So once the file is available, we are trying to set into this particular example here. So now what I will do, here line number 56, I'm putting a breakpoint, and we'll run this example in the debug mode here. In the debug mode here. Okay. So this is the main example we need to understand here. Okay. Now again, I'm trying to click on this particular register. So the same example I'm trying to use, spring underscore file. So username string underscore file, and the password we are giving as a file. Okay. And we are trying to click on this particular browser, and I'm trying to selecting one image here. Now I'm trying to click on submit. Now whenever I'm trying to click on this particular submit, here it is coming to the register process here. Now you can see file we are getting. So here, what is the object we are getting for this particular file? The file is empty. Getting the point? So this particular file is empty. So whenever the file is empty, what happens internally? Getting the point? So this particular byte, again the image, it will not store here. Whatever the image we are having, it will not set here. But what we need to do here, this is important. Why we are not loading this particular file here? Because we are giving the file in the browser, but the file, the object, whatever the object we are using, the object is not coming here. Getting the point? So this is very important here. Whenever this object is not coming, the whatever the file we uploaded, the file uploaded, it will not set into this particular message as a bytes here. Okay. Now what we can do? So this is important. We need to understand here. Now I'm trying to stop here. Again, it will try to save the data here. So to understand that, first what we need here, we need to use the one of the request param. Okay. So directly what we are doing here, for this particular param, whatever the value we are having, now we are trying to set into this particular file here. Okay. So what is the request param we need to use it? So if I'm going to open this particular register, what is the name of this particular request param? Something like upload here. Okay, this is the type and this is the name. So I'm trying to use the name here. Whatever the name we are having, the upload section, I'm going to use into this particular request param. Okay, I'm going to use as this particular request param upload. Now we'll try to run again the same example here. In the debug mode, I'm trying to run. So before going to run, instead of creating, I need to use update. Okay, the table structure it is created. We don't need to recreate multiple times. Now for this purpose, now what I'm doing, I'm trying to create as a update section, not the create here. Whatever the database table we are having, the behavior I modified here now. Now you can see, so we did not see any alter related queries here. So finally, again we are coming back to the create account page. So email Java full stack training outlook.com. Okay, and username Spring file and password I'm trying to give as a file. Okay, we'll try to click on this particular profile image here. Now I'm trying to select one logo. Now I'm trying to click on this particular submit. Now if I'm trying to select this particular file here, so now you can see, so we are getting some object here. Getting the point? Now you can see common multi-part file. Common multi-part file. This is important here. Okay, so this is the object we are getting. So once we are getting this particular object, now what we are doing is we are trying to converting into the byte here. So whatever the byte, because we created one property called byte, getting the point. So the particular byte property we are trying to set into this particular information. So now it is not a null, and we are trying to set as the image information. So we are coming back to this, the binding result. So any error we are getting, so far we are not getting any error. Directly we are calling save user. Okay, so now I'm trying to click on F8 here. So once I time to click on this particular F8, here we need to see, so what are the informations here. Okay, so now it is trying to send an email to it's trying to send a notification. After this, it is trying to inserting into this particular section here. Okay, this is important, we need to understand here. So after this, now here you can see, here we are having image here. Okay, so this is this particular, the byte, whatever the byte we provided. Now you can see this is the byte image I added here. Okay, so this is the image I added. Now we are able to see this particular image in our database here. Getting the point? This is important. Okay, now what we need here, whatever the image we added, so this image we need to load from the database and we need to set into the user. Like in the browser, we need to show this particular image. So right now what we are doing is, we are trying to set this particular image here. Right now, we are trying to save this particular image in the database here. But how we are setting? This is important, the request param. So if the request param is not available, whatever the multi-part file we are using, this particular file we are getting as an empty. Okay, the object is null. So, and another important what we need here, whatever this particular section we are providing, the object should be same here, multi-part file. Okay, this object should be same here. So this object is not available. What happens internally? Basically, it will not validate the whatever the image we are trying to providing here. Okay, this is important section we need to understand. Now what we will do here inside the home controller, basically, so which page we are trying to returning it? Which page we are trying to returning? Something like 404 we are getting it. So anyway, we are trying to return the register process here. So right now we don't have the particular page here. Okay, now if you see, if the user successfully saved into the database, now we are trying to converting into the register process and we are trying to providing register object here. Okay, this is important. Now what I will do here, I am going to create a one JSP page here. I am going to create a one JSP page here. So this is the register process. Register account detail, and same thing we are going to make. Okay, this is the account details we are going to use it. And here, now what is the structure we need to use here? So basically, the structure where we use earlier register. So this is okay. Here we need a JSTL library, and inside the register process, I am going to use this particular JSTL library, and whatever the condition we used here, this particular condition I am going to use. Okay, so this is the condition I'm going to use, and here so this H4 is not needed, and instead of this particular error, what is the object we need to check basically is the object we need to check basically register. Okay, so here we need to check this particular register. So inside this particular register, now what I will do here, I'm going to create the same table. Here I'm going to create the whatever the table we created in the previous example. So I'm providing border, and first I will create the table headers here. So what is the headers we can provide? User ID, user first name, so user last name, and final one, user email, and another section, profile image. Okay, this is the header we are going to use. So once we use this particular header, now what we will do, we'll try to come up with TR here. So the TD, whatever the table data we need to use it, we'll try to use the table data here. Okay, so here, whatever the table data we are going to use it, this is important. Register.id and last name and email. So the last section we need to add profile data. So how we are going to add this particular profile data? Because basically, again, we are going to load from the byte section. The byte basically will not add here. Getting the point? So we'll add this particular the byte section, whatever we used here. Okay. Now what I will do? So whatever we used here, so this is the example we need to use. Let me go to the GitHub. So I will try to copy the format, whatever the format we are trying to use it. So not this. Okay. It is throwing anyway validation. So earlier I implemented some format code here, the JSP code. So I'm trying to copy the same JSP code here, so that we will try to identify. So I'm trying to get an so token I'm getting something. Okay, so this is we need to understand this. So these are all the current example whatever we are discussing here. Now I will copy this entire section and I will paste it here, because whatever we are using is, so this is the TD. Okay, so this is the TD and table header and table data. Okay, this is important. In the last TD, we are trying to use this particular image section. We are trying to use this particular image section. Here I'm going to provide this. And for this particular table header, we are trying to use this. And here, one more the table row we are using. So this particular table row, we are trying to format the data. Now it is formatted everything here. So what we need to understand here, so this is important here. Whenever we are trying to load the particular profile information, now what I'm using, base 64 I'm using. So why we need to use this particular base 64? Here we are trying to converting into the base 64 here. Okay, the image, whatever the image we are having, we need to convert into the base 64 as a string format. Then only the image is going to show in the browser. So otherwise, whatever the data we are storing, the basically data is a byte format. The data is the byte format. The data basically will not show in the browser as a byte format. So we need to convert it into some other format. So that is, we are using the base 64 here. Okay. Now, so if we are using 200 and something like a 200, so the image width and height I'm increasing it. Now finally, so what we can do, if I'm going to refresh this, if I'm going to refresh, basically one more object is creating internally. Okay, what happened? Okay, base 64 it is showing an error. So whatever the base 64 we are having, so it is showing an error. But if we go to this, so one more record is created. One more record is created. Getting the point? So with help of the same data, one more record is created. Okay, now anyway, but we are getting some exception here. You can see. So this is the exception basically. Line number 27 we are getting. So the line number 27, what we added, this is the section. Okay, for this section, now what we need, basically we need one more column in the register class. String base 64. Any name you can provide. So just for understanding, I'm giving the base 64 here. And setters and getters for this. Okay, we'll run in the debug mode. We'll see. So if any exception will occur, like we'll try to debug the code. So otherwise, the example is going to run in the normal mode only. Now you can see I'm trying to click on this particular register. String file I'm using. So same, whatever the example we want to use, the same example I'm using it. So username also same, spring underscore file, and here output also file here. Okay, and finally I'm trying to click on the browser. The same image, whatever the image I saved into the database, the same image I'm trying to use here. Okay, so here the file is coming, object is coming. So once a object is coming, what is another change? So if I'm trying to click on this, now it is connecting to the application. So welcome to the Spring application. So again, here we are getting one more exception. Binding diagnostic, what happening? So this is basically Outlook related exception we are having. Now you can see here some Outlook related exception we are getting it. So what happening internally? SMTP send fail exception. Anything we are missing here? Permanent exception while with message. What is the message we are getting? User action is not none actual. So WSL action. Okay, some different exception we are getting. So anyway, we'll try to rerun the same example one more time. We'll see. So what happens internally? And another one, we need to enable this section. So this is the line number 71. Now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to enable this particular section here. This is important here. So why I'm enabling this? Because whatever the get image we are having, get image basically it is a byte section. So the byte format now I'm trying to converting into the string. The base 64 basically it is a string. So using this particular base 64, we have a one static method encode base 16 as a string. So using this particular byte array, now I am trying to converting into the string. So once it is converted, the string format we are trying to set into the database. Okay, and another important here. So inside this particular save user, so I'm trying to comment out this email notification. So because we already identified the email notification, so every time so we cannot run this particular email. So that what is the focus mainly what we are trying to focus here? We are trying to insert the image and the same image we are trying to show up in our UI pages. Okay, so because of this particular email, we are getting some different exceptions here. So I commented the email code whatever we implemented here. So file I'm using, and I will go for the same whatever the image we are trying to use it. Now you can see what happening internally. So this is the username we are having, and this is the first name. So first name is string and the last name is file, and this is the email ID, and this is the image. Whatever the image we are having, the image also we are loading. So this is the register account details here. Getting the point. So this is important. So I use the border to make some header into the table data. So because of this particular border, where is that register process? Because of this particular border section, now we are getting here. Okay, this is important information we need to understand here. Getting the point. So this is the way of inserting the image, and this is the way of loading the same image section here. Okay, so any questions on this? Okay, so if we don't have anything, now the another important section we need to understand here. So using this particular ActiveMQ, getting the point, using this particular ActiveMQ, how we are going to send the data, getting the point. So and how we are going to load the data, getting the point. So this is important here. This is like the JMS example we are going to use it, something like Java message services. So inside the Java message service, we are using our ActiveMQ here. Okay, this is important. Another important example we need to understand here. Basically here, what we will do, we are going to use a QR topic. With help of this particular QR topic, we'll try to save the data, and we'll try to load the data here. Okay, so to understand this, first what we need is, we need to run the particular ActiveMQ. So to run this particular ActiveMQ, first what we need to check whether this particular ActiveMQ is available or not. Getting the point. So here I added the Apache ActiveMQ here. So what we need here, so inside this particular bin, so we have the ActiveMQ batch file. We need to run this particular batch file here. Okay, so this is the batch file we need to run. Once the batch file is run here, so in the task manager, if you go to the service, so the ActiveMQ is now, it is stopped here. So what we can do, we need to start this. So once this particular ActiveMQ is started, now we can see it is running here. So once it is running, now what we can do, we'll go to the local host. We have one local host. So the local host of this particular ActiveMQ. So the password we can give admin and admin. Okay, the what is the local host is so http:/localhost 8161. So the 8161 is the local host of this particular ActiveMQ. Okay, these are all the simple. So where we can download this, so if we want to download ActiveMQ download. Okay, so here the browser, the URL we are having activemq.apache.org. So simply you will go to this particular Apache 5. So you can see these are all the bin file, zip file, something we have. So for this particular Windows, now we are going to use this particular zip file. So you can extract this particular zip file the specified location. So once you extracted here, we are able to see this particular folder called Apache MQ, whatever the latest version we are having. Okay. After this, now what I explained here with help of this particular, so we need to start the Apache MQ. Getting the point. This is a simple one. So once it is started, whatever the browser we are seeing it, this is the local host we are able to see. Getting the point. Now if I'm going to open this particular queue, so the pending message, so this is important. This is the pending message. Any pending message if you are having, now it will show here, and the message is like consumed here, so it will try to show here. Okay, so right now we don't have the particular messages here. So simple messages we don't have. Now what we can do, with help of this particular user, we'll try to push the messages into this particular ActiveMQ, and using the same ActiveMQ, we'll try to load the messages here. Okay, this is another important. So if you understand this example, you can easily understand the Kafka related. Kafka also is implemented based on this particular ActiveMQ. Okay, so this is basically one of the message services. What are the advantage we are going to get basically? So this is the one application we are having, getting the point, and this is the another application. Right now what we will do here, we are going to construct the object. With the help of the request information, we'll try to construct the object here. Okay, so around 6 object we constructed. Now what we will do with the help of this particular ActiveMQ. Okay, so this is ActiveMQ we are having. So using this particular ActiveMQ, now we'll push the data into this particular ActiveMQ, and another application, it will try to load the data. Getting it? Another application, it will try to load the data. So this is very important here because both applications are not communication directly each other. So how these each applications are communicating with the help of this particular ActiveMQ only. Okay, with the help of this particular ActiveMQ, now we are going to push the data. So this particular data, it is going to loaded by the another application here. Okay, so this is important. So using this, we are going to send, and here we are going to call receive here. So the queue name, whatever the queue name we are going to create here, so the queue name we are going to give two applications here. So application A, application B. So in the both application, we are going to use the same queue. With the help of this particular same queue, now what we will do, we'll try to get in the pen. We'll try to one application we are going to send the data, and another application we are going to load the data. So this is important here. So this is the real-time scenarios. So the real-time scenario is what we can identify because this is a client developed application. Okay. So this is the client requested to develop the one application. As a developer, this is develop the application. Okay. And end user, the client team have the client having some team members. They will try to work on the same data which is written by the client developer. For example, if you go to any LI's informations or any finance related application. So any finance. Okay. Now what happens internally? The user application is different, backend application is different. Getting the point? This is important here. So whatever the user application, the end user is seeing the application as a backend. So whoever working under the LIC organization, they are not seeing the same application. They will communicate with the another application, backend application. So how the user application and backend applications are going to communicate it? So with the help of this particular JMS related applications here. Okay, the message service related applications here. So the message, the user, it will try to send into this particular any message related services, and the message service related by loaded by the backend applications. Okay, this is important here. So if the two applications are not communicating over the internet, now what is the main advantage here? So we can go for this particular any message services here. So using this particular message service, now what we can do, simply we'll create a one message service, and we are going to provide the where we are going to push the changes, and another application, it will try to use the same queue name. It will try to load the data here. Okay, so now we'll identify how we can connect with Spring with this particular ActiveMQ here. Okay, this is the main important information we need to understand here. So to understand this particular example, now what we need here, so we need the main classes basically. So whatever the JDBC template we discuss here, if the JDBC template is not available, what are all the main steps we need to configure? So same thing you can identify here. Here we need to provide the connection for this particular ActiveMQ. Okay, so once the connection is communicated, we are going to push the we are going to send the data, and another side again we need to use the same connection related section, and we need to read the data. So here we are going to send the data once the connection is communicated with the ActiveMQ. So another section also, here again we are going to use same connection information. The same connection we are going to connect with the help of this particular ActiveMQ, and we'll try to read the data. So this is the connection opening and closing the common port here. Getting so same like a JDBC connection statement to how we created the common port into the JDBC template here. So here also we are having another template called Jms template. JMS template. So the JMS template internally, the common code, whatever the common code we are having, now it will try to identify it internally inside the JMS template. We don't need to write explicitly. Directly, we can call send or receive method. We can call send or receive method here. This is the two method we can perform with help of this particular JMS template. If the JMS template is not available, we need to open the connection. If the connection is processed successfully, we need to create the message and the message should be sent. So same like we need to open the connection and we need to read the message and we need to convert into the appropriate object type here. Okay, this is the another important section we need to handle here. So these are all the main advantage we are going to get when we are trying to communicate with our JMS template here. Okay, so now we can see what we can do basically here. So as I explained here, we are going to download the ActiveMQ from the activemq.apache.org here. Okay, so once it is available, now what we can do? So I'm going to provide the JMS related section here. The JMS related section here we are going to discuss here. So this is the important information we need to understand here. And here, so I'm going to stop this. We'll go to the spring-solid.xml file here. Now this particular file here, what we need to use here. Here now you can see 4.1 we are using. So inside this particular 4.1, so MVC we are using the namespace and the transaction we are using and the context. Same way, we are going to use the another section called, let me copy this and paste it here, JMS. Okay, so JMS I'm using. Now we need to use this particular JMS is available or not. So it is, we are having this particular JMS and here we are having the same 4.1 XSD. So the same 4.1 we are going to use it. So where is the file? JMS and the JMS we need to provide here. JMS. So once we are doing, first it is going to validate the XSD. So once it is validate, now we are able to see the JMS related. So whether we are able to see or not, what we can do here, we need to give the control space. Now type the JMS. Now you can see here we are having the JMS annotation example, or we can go for the container, something like a so container related example. Okay, but what we need here, we need to create the connection here. So we need to create the connection. This is main important, the important section we need to use it here. So another important section we need to provide the active related section. The ActiveMQ related section also we need to provide here. So what is the ActiveMQ? If I'm going to provide the ActiveMQ, so I think here we are not having in the main page. Here we can write. So ActiveMQ XML file, ActiveMQ configuration file. We'll see. Yeah, this is we need. Here I'm going to copy this. So XMLNS AMQ, the ActiveMQ apache.org.schema.code. So this is we need to add in our this particular context here. Okay, this is important. So once we add this, now what we are going to provide the information here, we are going to provide the AMQ related section. What happens here? It is not coming. This is important. Why it is not loading? It is loading this ActiveMQ Apache.schema.core only we are having, and here, so we need to provide the ActiveMQ. This is where is the location we are having. So here, okay, we are not able to see the location. Now what I will do, I will copy this and I will go to here 41.xsd. No. So why we are not getting? So this is important section we need to understand. So why we are not getting the another important JMS we added and ActiveMQ. Okay. So instead of this particular 41 snapshot, it will not work. We'll add this core.xsd. Again, we are not loading. Anything we are missing? ActiveMQ Apache .org schema.core and ActiveMQ-core.xsd. So whatever the AMQ we added, so I think it's correct. Okay, so this is important. Let me write AMQ. Yeah, now it is coming. So it's because of this particular HTTPS. So up to the core, it is a HTTP, and internally this is the HTTPS. So because of that, it is not loaded. Now here, what I'm doing is, so here I'm going to provide the connection factory. So basically, instead of providing our bean ID and connection factory information, so this is the schema we are having for this particular ActiveMQ. The same schema we can use here. So directly, I'm providing the connection factory here. Okay, this is the advantage we are going to get here. And here I'm making ID connection factory. Okay, the URL is important. So where this particular ActiveMQ is going to run here. So they say the URL we need to provide something like broker URL here. Okay, this is the broker URL we need to use it. Now you can see, so TCP colon, we are trying to run in the local host. If it is in the real-time application, here we are going to provide the IP address. Okay, only this particular change we are going to make in the real-time application. Remaining everything is same here. Okay, so this is important. We need to understand local host. So the IP base the whatever the port we are going to use here, something like a 61.61.6. Getting the point. So this is we need to use this particular connection factory. Okay, this is the main connection factory we are going to use for this particular AMQ, like ActiveMQ. And another one, what we are going to provide internally, we are going to provide the JMS template. The JMS template is important here. Okay, the JMS template. First, what we need here, we need to identify whether the JMS template is available or not. So far, we don't have this particular JMS template. Now, what we can do, we need to load from our Maven repository. So Maven repository here. Now what I'm doing is, here I'm going to provide the JMS. So Java x.sms is different one. We are going to use our Spring framework here. Okay, so this is we can use it. So we can go for the what is the version we are using here. Where is our pom.xml? Okay, 414. So the 414 we need to use here. So whether do we have 414? Now you can see 414 we have. So I'm copying this, and here I'm going to provide this particular JMS section here. Now save this. Okay. Once it is saved here, now what we will do? Again, I'm going to provide the JMS template we are having or not. So here now you can see the JMS template is now loading. Now, which package it is available? org Spring Framework JMS.core here. JMS.core. So this is, we need to understand very carefully here. Okay. Now, so this particular file we are going to use in our configuration section. Where we can use, I'm going to provide the last section. Bean ID, JMS template, and class. So org Spring Framework dot JMS dot core dot JMS template. Okay, whatever the file we provided, the name of the class is same or not, like it is, the path is correct or not, how we can check here? So we need to load the file here. From here we can load the file. So click on this particular control and so like click on the cursor to the over this particular file. Now it is showing the link here. Now click on this particular link. What happening internally? It is trying to move on to the JMS template. It is trying to move on to this particular JMS template here. Okay, the file is now loading. So with the help of this, now we can easily understand whatever the path we provided, it is correct. Okay, and after this, so what is the properties we are having? The JMS template internally, it is going to take as a connection factory. Okay, connection factory. So and the connection factory internally, it is going to reference to the whatever the connection factory we provided here. Okay, whatever the connection factory we provided with help of this particular example. So here, getting the point. So this is important section we need to understand here. This is the important section we need to understand, connection factory. Now you can see here, whatever the connection factory we are having, so this should match with the references, whatever the references we are using. Because here, ActiveMQ connection factory we are providing to this particular JMS template. Now it is matching here. So once it is matched here, now what we can provide? Here we can provide the default destination, one more property. Okay, so default destination name. So where we can check this inside the JMS template. So right now we don't have. Now if I'm going to provide the JMS template here, let's see where we are having the default destination. So this is the default destination. So any name is there, get a default destination name. Okay, here we are having, so set default destination name, but the property basically what we are having, destination. Okay, so what we can do, so we'll try to use the same property whatever we are having here. Now we'll go to the default destination, and here he is expecting objects. Now what we can do, we can provide the string value. What we can use, so here I'm trying to use user dot, so whatever is like a alert related section, so alert dot q. Okay, so this is the default destination we are going to use here. Getting the point. So we are using this particular name. So this particular name we are going to use in the two application A and application B. Application A basically it will try to send the data. Application B basically it will try to retrieve the data. Okay, this is the important section we need to understand. regarding this particular ActiveMQ. Okay. So this is the main important section we need to understand. So after completion of this particular after completion of this particular JMS template, now what we need to provide here? So the topic and queue we need to provide. So which one we are going to use? We can provide the topic or queue. Okay. So we'll see this. So with help of this particular, where is the connection factory? Here we are having connection factory, and here, so with help of this particular AMQ, so we are going to use the queue section, and we can provide the ID. Basically, if we are not using this particular AMQ, we need to create the queue and topic. So if you open this particular Apache MQ, we are going to have the ActiveMQ and ActiveMQ topic also. So if I will show you ActiveMQ, so right now we don't have this particular section. Now, what is the important section we need to understand here? So ActiveMQ ID, physical name, user dot queue. Okay. So right now I did not add the ActiveMQ related jar here, but we need to add the ActiveMQ related jar also. So now what is the jar we need here? ActiveMQ core related jar. Let me see. So this is the jar we need to add here. Market core, ActiveMQ core. This one only. So which one we can use? The latest one I'm trying to use because it is completed in the 2012 section. Go to the pom.xml. Okay, so this is important we need to add. So now if I'm going to show you ActiveMQ queue. So here this is the queue class, ActiveMQ queue. Okay, basically this particular class we need to configure explicitly with help of this particular bean ID. Okay, explicitly we need to configure if this section is not available. So which section we are talking? So this particular AMQ. Okay, if this particular AMQ is not available, we need to identify this particular queue with help of the bean ID something queue and the class name ActiveMQ queue we need to provide and internally whatever the dependency is expecting. So we need to add those particular dependencies here. Okay, this is important section we need to understand here. Now, so finally, what I'm doing is, so we created the ActiveMQ related configuration. So here we are having the connection factory, and we created one queue because inside the queue only we are going to send the data. Okay, in the JMS template, now what we are doing is, so this is the value of it's the name of the queue name we are using it, and internally it is expecting connection factory. Okay, so this is we identified. So after identify this particular example, now what we need basically, now we'll need Okay, sorry, I think it is automatically disconnected the app here. Okay, anyway, so I come back here. Now you can see. So the register. Now I'm trying to create the get register alert here. Okay, so this is another important. Now what we will do? So using the JMS template, the JMS template basically receive and do convert here. Receive and do convert. Here also we are not providing any the destination information because we already provided the destination information. So what we can do here, simply we can convert it into the register here. Okay, whatever the okay, so this is the class we will use and do return. So they say the two methods are important. The two methods are important here. With help of this particular two methods, now we are going to first method we are pushing the changes into the queue, and another method we are going to use the loading the whatever the object we pushed into the particular queue. Okay, this is important here. Getting the pen. Now here what we need to understand very carefully, one application A is going to call this method, and application B it is going to call this method. But here we don't have a multiple applications here. Because of that we are calling only the single application, and we are doing the both operations here. Okay, so this is important section we need to understand with help of this particular JMS template. Now, so what we can do basically here we need to identify the from where this method we can call here. From where we can call this particular method. This is important here. Okay, so from where we can call in the user service. In the user service, so open this particular email service also, why it is failed earlier example. So anyway, now again we are trying to providing alert service and auto wide. Okay, so this is the important example we need to understand here. So after this, now what I will do here with the help of this particular send email, after send email I'm going to call the alert service dot send user alert. Okay, so this is we are going to call the alert message. Okay, so this is the alert message section we are going to call here. So let me run this example. So we started our ActiveMQ. Now we are trying to run our application here. Okay, so we are getting an exception. So ban definition store exception we are getting. Unexpected exception. What we are missing? Something is expecting one more jar. Now you can see class not found. Okay, it is expecting the class not found here. What is the class is expecting? XB namespace handler. Getting the point? Is expecting XB related section. So what is the XB related section we need to add basically? So we have in the Apache level we are having. So the XB we need to add here. XB hyphen Spring. So this is we need to add here. So org Apache dot XB. This is the jar we need to add. Okay. So once we add this, now what we can identify here, where is the pom.file here? Okay, this is important example we need to understand here. Now it is downloaded. So once it is downloaded, now what we are doing is we are trying to run the same example one more time. So here now you can see alert service. Here we are getting the one more exception, alert service, whatever the alert service we created here. So injection of auto-wire dependency fail here. So why it is failing? It is trying to throw one bean creation exception. So Jms template, alert service Jms template, nested bean creation exception, Jms template define. So in the help of this, file fail to convert the type required type java.lang, so destination. Now you can see java x.jms.destination. So whatever the destination we are having, it is throwing an exception. So it is trying to converting into the object. Basically, it is the destination object here. So here, what is the property we are providing? Default to destination. Okay, so cannot convert here string to the destination type here. Getting the point? This is important. But now what we can do, we'll go to the same, and instead of this particular destination, I can provide the name here. Okay, destination name here. So this particular destination name I modified here. So we'll see, because we identified we have a setter signed getter. So if we go to this particular JMS template, we have a setter signed getters for this particular template here. Now where we are having now you can see set to default destination is expecting the destination object. Now another one, if you go to the set to destination name, it is expecting string here. So see the difference, difference is basically here. The first one here, it is expecting destination object here. Destination is coming from the javax dot whatever we have seen just now, javax dot jms dot destination. And another one here, now you can see, so the destination name is expecting string of the destination name. So this is the method we are calling internally. Okay, instead of calling this particular method, now what we are doing is, so we are calling this. So everything is setting into the same. So default to destination here, and here also we are trying to set default to destination. But here we need to provide the Java X object here, and here we are providing only string information. Okay, this is the important. Now if you go to this, the application is loading successfully. Now I'm trying to close others here. So finally, now what we need here, I'm trying to click on the register. So we'll try to load this particular object with help of this particular JMS, and the same email. So at the rate. Okay, so username, what I'm trying to provide, spring underscore JMS. So the password JMS. Okay, and so we'll try to download some image. So ActiveMQ related image we can download here. So if here you go to this, and if you go to here where we are having, click on the images here. This section we can download, save. Where is the save? So save image, and in the download section I'm having ACT. What is the type? ActiveMQ. Okay, so now I'm saving this, and here we'll try to click on this. Now we'll go to the download section where we are having ActiveMQ. Okay, so this is I'm adding it. Now after this, now we'll try to click on the submit. So we are getting an exception. So what is okay, so we are getting something like SMTP send fail exception, something like what we can identify the Outlook related exception we are getting is here. You can see Java mail sender service sample do send. So in the line number 459 we are getting an exception. So we can identify why this exception is getting here. Okay, so now you can read failed message because of this particular send fail exception. So why this exception we are getting, we need to copy this, and we need to identify what we are missing. Basically I'm thinking it is the configuration issue. We need this, and the local also we need, and we'll try to use another tab. What happening here? So message failed because of the community due to the permanent exception with okay, so same thing we are having here. So you can see according to this particular description, so you cannot send any emails here. So why we cannot send here? Because the error issue could cause you the cluster folder. So something the cluster, maybe it is the Outlook related exception we are getting here. We need to follow this to resolve this particular issue. So it is because of the particular Microsoft issue here. Now what we can identify in the Outlook, open the setting. Now go to this setting, basically whatever we used earlier. So full stack training at the rate. Okay, so this is our email ID. We'll identify. So we'll click on the sign in. Now it is coming to the same here. Okay, now click on the next. Oh, why? Let's see. Do we have any account? No. Hmm, why we are getting? Because whatever we use what is the file we are using? Email service only, right? We can copy this. Oh, okay. So it's a spelling mistake we have. So here we provided wrong email. Okay, now maybe, so if it is because of this, we'll try to connect with example one more time. So we'll see after providing the one more time here. Now it is loading. Now clicking Spring JMS and email I copied here. So username Spring underscore JMS. So password I'm giving JMS and JMS. Okay, click on the browser. So ActiveMQ and click on submit. Now we'll see if we get the same exception. Oh yes, so we are getting the same exception. Now we need to go to the same whatever the settings we are having here. So we need to follow this particular settings here. For this particular settings, now what is the password we created? Something like so I hope this is we created the password. Now go to our here we provided the password where we provided. Okay, so just the Java technology we provided here. Oh, your account is being locked. So basically because of this, now we are getting some exceptions here. Oh my God, now it is expecting the phone number. Where is the India? So we need to wait whether we are going to get this particular code or not. Okay, so I will do this later because I'm not getting anything. So I will fix this issue. Now, for now, what we can do, we can comment out whatever the email service we are trying to call, where we are trying to call in our user service. So here I'm trying to comment out the email service here. So we'll run. Because of this particular multiple sending an emails, maybe it is trying to lock my account here. So we'll debug those later and we'll fix that issue why the account is locked here. So anyway, we are coming back to this and so JMS and so I think anything we can provide. Okay, and click on the image, the submit. So message conversion here. Okay, what happened here? So the message is trying to convert it into the JMS message. So this is the JMS related message we are getting. Now here you can see JMS template, convert and send here. Now send message and here, so execute something we are getting, simple message conversion. Now what happened? Cannot convert object type to register. So he's expecting the JMS, the supported message payloads are string, byte array, map, serializable object. He's expecting serializable object here. Okay, so whatever the register class we are having, it is not a serializable class. Now what we need here? So we need to go to our register class. Now you can implement this particular class. The whatever the serializable serializable interface we are having, we can implement. Basically, over the network, we are trying to convert the object here. So because of this, the serializable, this interface is going to play an important role. Based on this particular ID only, it will try to deserialize the object here. Okay, it will try to deserialize based on this particular object here. So now again, I'm trying to run the same example one more time. Okay, so click on the register, Spring JMS, java@gmail.com. So username underscore JMS. Okay. So click on the browser. We'll see now what happens now. So you can see, so runtime exception. Okay. So it is expecting runtime exception com.springmvc.login. So store convert ActiveMQ message here. Again, here also we are getting, so to message, you can see create message. With help of this, we are trying to get same exception here. So what we can identify, now you can see no serializable exception, not serializable exception. So whatever the login class we are having, login class also we need to make serializable. Why we need to make? Internally we are having some relation here. Getting the point? So what is the relation we are having? The one-to-one relation we are having for this particular two objects here. So let me make, and here some random ID I'm providing here. Okay, both are the serial version ID, both are different here. Based on this particular the serial version ID only, object is going to convert here. Okay, so whatever the object we are having, the object we are trying to save into the ActiveMQ with help of this particular serial version UID. So it will try to deserialize the object here. So now you can see how much the serializable is important when we are trying to converting this particular example over the network here. Okay, Spring JMS. Finally, the image I'm trying to select and click on submit. So if everything is go successful, now you can see whatever the ActiveMQ profile we added, the particular ActiveMQ profile is loading. So if we want to provide the another important information, what is another important here? So here, whenever we are trying to, where is the home page? So when we are trying to coming back to the home controller after this particular register process, here you can call the one more endpoint to load the all the object, whatever the object we are having inside this particular register class. So far, how many we are having? 3 objects. So first one, second one, and this is the ActiveMQ. So 3 objects we stored inside this particular person register table. Now what we can do? So using this particular whatever the endpoint we created, you can call the one more method. This method is going to load the data from the database, all the records. So far here we are trying to return only one record. So you can load all the records and you can return back to this particular table. Okay, return back to this particular table with help of this particular for each here. Okay, so the section we'll discuss later, but now observe, we are trying to save the data with help of this particular ActiveMQ. Now what we need to check here, whether the object is stored inside this particular ActiveMQ or not. So this is, we need to understand very carefully. So if I'm going to click on the queue, because we created queue related section here. Now you can see, so user alert.queue. Getting the point. So this is only we created. So user alert.queue, where we created this section. So inside this particular spring-solid.xml, if you go to here, the value user.alert.queue. Okay, this is we provided. Now this message, now it is showing in the ActiveMQ. Okay, so if you go to this, you can read this number of pending messages. So how many pending messages we are having? 1. Because we save this particular, like we push the message into this particular ActiveMQ, this message, it is not loaded by any another application here. Just we pushed here. So what is the message we pushed here? If you see here, we cannot identify because it is a converted object here. So now you can see. So this is the object here. You can directly delete it from here. But now, most probably, we cannot get this particular object here. So we cannot see what is this particular object is contained here. Now you can see class not found exception we are getting here, because what is the object we provided here? It's like a register object. It's like a register object here. Now you can see com.mvc spring.mvc.register. So it is trying to converting into this particular. So serializable, it is not here. Inside the ActiveMQ, we are getting an exception here. But when we are trying to load the an object, we can easily deserialize an object and we can use another purpose here. Okay, so this is important. We need to understand. We push the data. So this particular data, how we can load here. Can you depend how we can load here? So this is another important information we need to understand here. Another important information we need to understand here. Getting the point. So to understand this example, what we need here, we need to call the where is that alert service. So using the alert service, we need to call this particular receive and convert. Okay, receive and convert. With the help of this particular receive and convert, now what we are doing is we can load the data. Okay, so this section we can continue on the tomorrow. So once it is completed, now we'll try to see the how we can see list of records here. Instead of one record, how we can see the list of records. So this is the final section. And if we want to provide any endpoint here, we can provide the endpoint so that the record we can delete here. Okay, so this is the important we are going to discuss in the tomorrow. So once these examples are completed, we'll discuss about the annotation example. In the annotation example, I cover the Spring security here. So how we can use the particular Spring security here. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to continue another important session. So this is the important example we are going to discuss here. So far, whatever discussed, these are all the XML related example. So using this particular example, now we are going to build the annotation example. So without using any XML, now tomorrow we are going to build the annotation example. Okay, so any questions? So any questions so far about today's session? Okay, so if we don't have anything, so tomorrow we'll discuss it.